Okay. So I want to do kind of a special video for, I think I have 20 subscribers now, 20 people Bible studying in some way, and I wanted to say thanks for subscribing, and I hope that this scripture reading is reaching you in some way in your personal life that is helpful. You're in my prayers, and I'm always praying that God watches over and puts a hedge of protection on you and blesses you and your loved ones and guides you through this thing called life that I like to call the valley. Okay, so because I've gotten 20 subscribers, I thought I'd do something special, which I guess in a way I'll do like a kind of story time or something. This one in particular is about a dream that I've had, and it was a really interesting dream. I have a lot of vivid dreams often, like every night I have all kinds of dreams, really. Sometimes I'll dream, wake up, and then go back to sleep and go back into whatever world that dream, is taking place. It's really cosmic, but I do believe that dreams can also show you things. And so I thought I'd tell you a story about a recent dream that I had not too long ago, maybe a month or so, I can't really remember, but it stayed with me. I try not to keep dreams that have a darkness in my memory for so many reasons. But this one I thought it stayed with me. Or maybe I allowed it to stay with me, at least a part of it, so that I could tell this story right here. So, in this dream, and just be careful, the monitoring spirits, as I say, every time I'm talking and things, they're around, stomping around. It is a thing, gang stalking and monitoring spirits. I don't know these people, mind you. But, let me just go on anyway. I'm going to tell you the dream. So, in this dream, I was in like a city that I used to live. And I've lived in a lot of cities, and I've had a lot of dreams about this one in particular since I've left it. Don't think I'll ever be returning, at least not to live. But I had dreams about this place, and in this dream in particular, I was happy to be there. And it looked the same pretty much as it always did. And it carried a good vibe for most part. It was a sunny day, and there were people out doing what people do, going about their day in restaurants, eating, walking down the street, whatever. And I was walking around familiar spots, I guess, that I used to go. And then, I don't know how I got to this point, but I was riding a bike down the street. And I do that, I'd be pretty active. So I'm walking down the street, and then I'm riding a bike, and I'm just, cruising. It's sunny and beautiful, and then all of a sudden, as I'm like riding, weird things start popping up, like, can't really remember the particulars. As I said, I try to forget dreams like this, but there's images about this dream that stayed with me. So one of the images was like, I don't know if it was a dead body or just someone homeless sleeping in a ditch or something. But it was creepy. It was really dark, and he was like, whoever it was, had blankets over him, and I saw that, and it definitely was alarming, but I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. I didn't even know how to react to that. So I kept riding my bike, and it was like more of that type of imagery kept coming, until I found myself like in the ditch or something. I can't really remember how I got there, but I think in the dream it was kind of this hazy as well in a way. I don't remember how I got there, but somehow, like, me trying to get out of that ditch, and I was very calm about it, I ended up in some sort of building or apartment or something, and inside this apartment, there was people. It was like a house party. It was like a building. It was like an apartment building, but it was like a really big apartment, and inside it was like for me to get out of the ditch, I had to go through this apartment or something. So I went in, and it was like this big house party. People were just walking around, men and women. I think there was a few kids in there. I'm not really sure, but it was dark, and it was like everything about the energy of this place was wrong. I was definitely using discernment, but I don't think I was afraid. I just knew that I was not in a good place and that I needed to get out of this, whatever this was. So I was just calmly walking through this apartment and going, where's the exit at? So, as I'm walking through, there's people, like I said, just people in there just hanging out, or whatever they're doing. And sorry, I just woke up, so I might have like a little bit of a horsey voice and whatnot, but I'm walking through and there's men and women, and I knew also, I don't know what it was, maybe the spirit told me or something, but I knew that a lot of those women were witches. It was crazy. Like, I just knew that they were. And the men were associated with that somehow. Maybe they were warlocks or something. Who knows? I don't know. But they were all associated in this darkness. And I just knew. I was like, okay, where's the door? Let me get back outside. And I was having a hard time. It was like a maze or something. I was having a hard time finding the way out. And I think there were several women, but I just remember really one in particular. She was trying to tell me to like agree to something or sign to something in order to be free. I don't understand because I'm like, what? That's weird. Didn't believe anything, not a word of what she said. But I was convicted because if she was saying it as if it was absolute, But I was like, this is weird. Like, no. So there was a warning as well. I don't know if it came from her or just people in general in the house. Like, if I find the exit, I shouldn't leave. I shouldn't go out. Or, in order for me to be free, I have to agree to something. And I thought everything about it was just darkness. I eventually found the door, which was really interesting. I was calm during all of this, mind you, even though there was like, I could feel the evil. Jeez, and I just wanted to get out of there. But I was very calm. And I eventually did find the door. And, they warned me, don't go out. It's worse out there or something, But I just wanted to get out of this stuff. Like, it was just, I didn't even know how I got there. I was just like, I gotta find the way out of this madness. So when I found the door, I opened it. And when I opened it, it was dark. It was like darker than midnight. It was, and it was weird. Like the scenery, the city, none of it was the same. It wasn't this place that I knew. It was like this huge street, boardwalk, something. And it was dark, and there were kind of headlights, like just these lights that were shining, in the street as they do. Weren't a lot of them, but it was enough to where you could kind of see where you were going. And the people out there, yikes, man. They were worse than the people. They were right, and to some extent, they were worse than the people inside, because at least the people inside had the image of an actual person. These people had the image. It was so distorted and deformed. I don't even know how to explain. I've tried to release these images in my head, so I don't really remember the exact. I just know that it was very, very creepy, like their heads and everything, their limbs, like even their faces, everything was just extremely distorted and looked not human. It just looked demonic. It just looked so wrong. I was not distorted, mind you, and I was also still very calm, looking around, going, oh, okay. And I didn't think about going back in that apartment, that's for sure. So I just went out. I was like, okay, let me just get past this, So I'm I'm walking through and like I stand out big time. Everybody's looking at me. Maybe because I'm the only normal looking person, who knows. At the time, I'm thinking, oh, I've got the spotlight on me. Now I really got to book it. And, I didn't know where I was going. I just went out into that boardwalk and started walking, And I'm thinking, if I go far enough, if I just keep pushing ahead, this is going to come to its end. And so I start walking, even though everybody's looking. And soon enough, like, didn't take long, but I saw a police car pulling up. I was like, oh, it's the police. I don't really like the police per se. I just don't think most of them do their job as they should. I'm just going to say a lot of those type of authority type figures, no offense to them. I've just seen like some corruption going on with that. People are in these businesses for the wrong reasons. So there are good police officers and things, but I've seen like some really bad ones. So I'm a little on the fence about, who's coming. But this being in this darkness, it was like, I didn't even think about that per se. I was just like, well, it's got to be better than this. So as the police car pulled up, I turn and I look at the windshield, and they're more distorted than the people walking around. I forgot to add that the people walking around, they looked all like the same almost. Like the same image, the same deformed image over and over. They were even wearing the same clothes. It was just it was bizarre. And so I'm looking at the police through the windshield. They're worse. I can't even explain it. It was just like some bad AI effect or something. It was just wrong. And so I was like, I'm not calling on those guys. I'm better off like just going ahead on my own. And I had some peace, in my spirit. So I wasn't afraid. I wasn't running or anything. I was just very calm, mind you, this whole time. I'm just going forward. Like, I know that these things are wrong, and I'm just trying to get past whatever all that is. So I just keep walking because I'm like, okay, I'm not asking those guys, So I walk on, and there's a man. Ugh, And I've seen this spirit a lot in people, whatever this spirit is, whatever that man was supposed to represent. I've seen it in real people where they have this weird spirit within them. And it was like a stalking spirit. Ironically enough, it was like a stalking spirit. It was like a monitoring spirit. And he was tall and a little abnormal. He wasn't as deformed as those guys. In fact, like, he was kind of normal looking in comparison. But it was still evil. Like, there was just so much evil radiating from this being. So he's walking over. He's like on this side of me. He's walking over, and I'm like, okay, like, I don't know what's going on, but this guy walks up on me. I'm walking and he's walking, like, step for step. He's like right up on me too. It's just super creepy, super gross. So eventually I just look at him. It doesn't take me long. I look over. I don't look directly at him because, like, I don't be looking at evil, especially people that got that type of evil. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you. But, since he's in my space and all in my business, I'm like, I look at him and I go, you need to leave me alone. You need to leave me alone. Do you hear the monitoring spirits? They're listening. So I look at him and I say, you need to leave me alone. And he just smirks and smiles, like he's got some kind of control here. Yikes. And I was just super creeped out. I think he said something. I can't remember what he said. I don't want to remember what he said because it's pointless. But I just kept walking for a minute, and I saw that he continued to follow me, as if he felt like he had some kind of power in doing that. Yikes, he doesn't. And so I just irritated. I was really irritated, quickly annoyed by this, whatever this is. And So I just immediately just looked at him because I was just sick of it. Like, it didn't take long. I just got sick of it. So I just looked at him and I was like, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And when I said that, I'm not even kidding. As soon as I didn't even finish, I was awake in my bed, safe, sound, quiet. It was like it was over. I didn't even get to see his reaction or anything. The whole dream just melted away and it was over. Like, instantly. I was there and then I'm awake in the real world. And it was like such a contrast. I was very grateful to be out of whatever that was, because that's the point of me walking through all that anyway. It was that I wanted to be out of that. And it's pretty cool that, God, he took me out of that. All I had to do is call on him. And he immediately, before I could even finish, he immediately removed me. And left those people in that, whatever that was. Whatever that was. And I didn't have to sign anything to be free. I just was. I was free already. So I say all that to say this. That dream, I have a lot of vivid dreams like this, and I should probably tell you some others that are really interesting. Like, I have one that's kind of rapture-like. I have asked God not to give me dreams like that because, like, I'm delicate. I don't want to dream about this. I've already heard other people's dreams, and I've already had like a rapture-like dream since I was really little. I don't even know how old, maybe 3, 4, 5, like really, really little. I used to have this dream all the time about the end of the world, and it was the same every single time. I'll have to tell you guys about that dream. Maybe if I can get to like 30 or 40 or whatever, I'll tell you. I don't know if it will mean anything, but I'll tell you about that dream. But this one in particular, about me roaming through this darkness and this weirdness, it took me a minute to really think about what it could have meant. And for me, I interpreted it as, you're walking through this valley of the shadow of death. To me, life is that, the valley of the shadow of death. And there's so much evil here, and people just with the wrong heart, wrong intentions, just doing evil, bad things, just evil, bad things. And maybe they don't know the extent of their evil, but some of us can see it, in a spiritual sense, which comes out as like maybe they were looking deformed and, distorted, because it was like I was looking at their sins, I wasn't looking at them. I was looking at their wicked lifestyle, perhaps. And that the police also had it worse than the people on the street. It says a lot. Just people, there was witches and trying to get you to sell yourself, sell your soul. There was just all kinds of stuff going on in there that I just knew right away. Like, it just gave me, like, in the pit of my stomach. I just knew, I gotta get out of this. Whatever this is, I don't want any part. And it was like they kept trying to make me be a part of whatever darkness they had going on. It was just like, I'm not made of that. Like, I'm not of that. So... And I was very calm. I think it was because God was with me. That's what I believe. Like, he was just with me, and I'm already, at this point, like, this is only a month or so ago, I'm in a deep relationship with God. It's permanent, too. So there's a peace that comes with that, even though people try to do weird, intimidating things. It's like, no, God is in control, and he's writing in your book, so be careful. Be really careful, because he records every nasty thing that you do as well as the good things. But there's going to be a time when you die in your short life. We get maybe 80 years. I've said this a bunch of times. We don't get a long time here. It's a trial, And if your best life is just this here in this world, and you're just doing evil with it, that's a sad existence. It doesn't bother me, though, because as I said, like in the dream, it's like in real life, I'm just passing through this place. I see it for what it is. So I know this isn't the real thing. God has already shown me what the real thing is. And I look forward to it. So I'm going to keep charging ahead on that narrow path, despite the darkness. And there's the fact that there was just pretty much everybody was corrupt. It was like, it says so much about the state of the world today. It's like so many people are lost and consumed in their sin and just consumed in wickedness and doing bad things. It doesn't have to be that way. And I know I'm not the only one. I've met so many really cool people, even people who don't really have a relationship with God. I've met some kind hearts out there. Many. But this dream really resonated. There are so many people out there that just have evil hearts, such evil hearts, as well as just people. I think the people in the street were kind of just the everyday man. They're not necessarily looking to be evil. They're just in the world. So it's very interesting that at the end I'm walking through, and despite all of these attempts, to get me, whatever that they were trying to get, I had peace, and it only took me calling on God to deliver me out of that. Instantly, mind you. Didn't even finish saying his name, and he got me out of that. Left those beings wherever they are, whatever dream realm or whatever that is, left them in there. So, I don't know, I would say, if you're having a crazy dream, and it is dark, it helps to have a relationship with God, because there is some peace, even if you're in darkness. For some reason, I just wasn't scared, and I didn't need to run or anything. I just knew that somehow it was going to get better. Like, somehow I was going to come out of this into the light, somehow, if I just kept going. And I didn't give in to whatever they were doing. And it wasn't a question, because I didn't care about whatever they had going. It didn't matter what, where I was in that dream. I just didn't want any part of any of it. And so you find yourself in a dream, maybe you can't control it, maybe there is demonic stuff following you or whatever. I would suggest calling on God. Like, use his name, Jesus Christ. Some people will call on his real name, Yahushua HaMashiach. Call on him, because then you'll be free. You'll get out of that right away. And there will be dreams. I've heard stories of people who's been silenced or like paralyzed in their dreams so that they cannot call on him. He'll still come. Just think of him. He'll still come. I promise. But don't just succumb to whatever's going on, because whatever was happening in that apartment, whatever they were trying to get me to agree with, I think that was some kind of spiritual stuff trying to get me in my real life. Whatever that, and that might sound crazy to some people, but if you know what I'm talking about. In this dream, some spirit was in there that was evil and real to an extent, trying to get me to go over to their side, whatever that means. And because I have this relationship with God and I know the truth, it just all seemed really silly to me. Just all seemed really trivial and dark and futile. So I say all that to say, it took me a while, because I had dreams where I didn't call on his name. I didn't even think to call on his name in the past. And you gotta somehow be bold enough to you gotta somehow remind yourself, even in real life, just take some time out to really put this in the back of your mind, that this is something that you can do, and it will set you free. It'll be the real thing that sets you free, not whatever that witch was talking about. So that's pretty much the dream. There's darkness in the world. You don't have to be afraid, and God is with you. You just really call on him, depend on him, and he'll set you free for real. You don't have to depend on anything that this world or any human being or whatever tells you. Look to God. Go to God first. He'll give you the answers, and he'll genuinely help you. It won't be some exchange or trick or anything. Like, what he says is true. And his kindness is real. I think I'm lagging on a little bit, but I hope that you got something out of this. I should tell you guys a couple other dreams. I mean, there's some really weird ones, but there's some really interesting ones that I've had. Some that are really good, that I should probably share, I guess. I'm wondering if any of you guys have dreams like that, really vivid dreams where you're, in a way, lucid dreaming. You're aware that this is another realm, and you're not just floating, in your dream, or just living or letting the dream take over you, but you're very conscious of the fact that it's a dream and able to react as such. Were they spiritual dreams? Did you call on God if there was like a demonic attack? I would just love to hear about other people's dreams because I find it very fascinating. These supernatural dreams. But anyway, that's pretty much all I remember from that dream. It was really interesting because as I'm talking about a monitoring spirit dream, like the monitoring spirits are walking all around. It's very weird. I should tell you guys a story about these guys too because it's just really out there. Literally, when I wake up, they wake up, like when I go to sleep, they go to sleep, it's just really out there. But it's really funny because whatever they think they're doing, which God has told me already what they think they're doing, whatever they think they're doing, they're not doing anything but condemning themselves. It's just out there. It's like self-destruction at its finest. It's just really weird. So I also want to add that in there. If you find yourself dealing with monitoring spirits or gang stalkers, just know that God sees everything and he's writing it in your book. He's writing it in their book. You don't need to be alarmed. Be aware that that's something that's happening, but if you're walking with God, they cannot touch you. Even if they try, they just can't. All they're doing is damning themselves. And I don't understand why. I don't want to understand, but really, it's just a really big old question mark. Why would anybody want to do that to themselves? It's creepy. They're listening right now. But, they're going to continue to gang stalk until God removes them, which he told me he's going to do that really soon. So, it is what it is. That's a really sad existence. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm glad that isn't me. I don't know. I hope that they find God before it's too late. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's just really pointless, weird things. I should tell you a story about the gang stalking. It's a really interesting story. And just kind of how I've come to what God has revealed to me about those kinds of people and what's really inside them. It's really out there. It's really bizarre. They're not happy. Let's put it that way. They're not happy, and they can see that you have a light. And in many ways, they envy that. They wish they had it. But they're not going to get it by gang stalking or monitoring you. They're not going to get it. They're not even going to affect your life in any way. You're just aware of them. The only way that they can get that is if they stop their evil ways and seek God. For some reason. Maybe it's the demons in them. Who knows? But they don't. They just continue on the path of straight up self-destruction. I'll have to make a special video about that. Tell you a really, really interesting story about my gang stalking monitoring spirit experience. No, they have never hurt me. They've tried to hurt me. It was really weird and creepy. They've tried for years to do weird. But it's like God we both laugh. We just laugh at them. Because it's just bizarre. It's pointlessness at its finest. A pointless self-destruction. Anyway, that's all I got to say about this. I hope you guys enjoyed this story or got something out of it, or just that it maybe reminded you of dreams yourself that you've had that were cosmic, or it just put the seed in your mind that if this happens to you, you have a dream, a strange dream that is demonic or dark or whatever. Don't sign over anything. Don't agree to anything in those dreams. Sometimes it even goes down to eating food. Don't eat the food either. I don't know what else to tell you. Except that you need to just really be walking with God so strong that you're aware when you're dreaming of what's going on. And you don't let it shake you. Because it is just a dream. But there's some spiritual things going on in those kinds of dreams too. That should be noticed. Should be noted. So I thank you guys, those of you who are subscribed. That's pretty awesome. It's more than I would have thought. So I'm really grateful that there are people who are reading the Bible and just kind of hopefully gathering something out of God's word. And I just pray that continues for you. I just pray so many blessings over you and your loved ones and your life. And I pray for a hedge of protection over you. I pray that if you are to have some kind of dreams, that you remember to call on the name of the Lord. so that you can be set free. Those demons hate that stuff. They hate it, when you're walking with God. So they're going to try so much to get you to not walk with him, or, give up your relationship. Don't give it up. It's the best thing you could ever have. It's everything, really. That's why they want you to give it up, because they want you to go where they're going and be where they're going to be. You don't have to go there. You don't have to be like how they are or go where they're going. You can walk with God and be free and go to something completely different and beautiful. Don't give that up for nothing and nobody, especially some demonic entities or gang stalkers or dreams. So, anyway, I pray, that this resonated with somebody out there. And I just thank you for tuning in today. I'm going to get on to that Bible study. I'm going to read the chapter 12, I think, at this point. And so I'll see you over there, I guess, if you're going to check it out. Chapter 12, I think, is going to be focused on Abram, the life of Abram. We're going to get into him. So, come on over and check it out if you want. I hope you have a good day. Hope you be blessed. And I love you. Bye.